in our previous lesson, you learned about realistic fictions. Realistic fiction is a genre that seems real but is not. Realistic means that something seems real, while fiction means stories that are not real. So this time, kids, you will learn about giving conclusions to realistic fictions. Learning to draw or give conclusions is a skill that develops over time. It is an important skill for readers to learn because it encourages them to pay attention to what they are reading. Use what they know from life experiences and look at the details and facts in the text as clues that will help them draw conclusions about what is meant but not explicitly stated. So in this lesson, you will learn to develop your skills in giving conclusions to realistic fictions. So, after going through this lesson, you are expected to give conclusions to realistic fiction read. Of course, provide textual evidence to explain and support conclusion. And lastly, read grade level texts with appropriate speed, accuracy, and proper expression. To begin with, let us read and analyze the ideas presented on the screen, and then later on, we will answer the questions that follow. A conclusion is a statement a reader makes after reading a passage in a story. So to draw a conclusion, one can use the story clues. When we say story clues, it is what you read in the text and your own experience. So when we say own experience, it's what you already know to figure out things that were not fully explained in a story. So the selection or story does not really say the answers to the questions, but you can conclude the answers from what you read. So for us to remember, we can use the addition sentence. We have here story clues plus what I know is equal to conclusion. So I have here two questions. What do you think will happen if it wouldn't rain for several days? Okay? The next one is, what do you think will happen if you will not study diligently? So let us analyze using the examples below. So were you able to answer the questions I have given? So if yes, then you just gave a conclusion. So let's have this first example. If it wouldn't rain for several days, plants will die. So based on the given clue, on the first part of the sentence, one can conclude that if it didn't rain for several days, plants will die. So, the given conclusion is plants will die. What about the second sentence? If you will not study diligently, you will get low grades. So, based on the given clue, on the first part of the sentence, one can conclude that if you will not study diligently, you will get low grades. So the given conclusion for the first sentence is, as I've mentioned a while ago, plants will die. For the second sentence, the given conclusion is, you will get low grades. What about if you see an empty plate of cookies and then you see a toddler with crumbs on his face? You can give a conclusion that he ate the cookies even though you did not see him do it, right? Yes. In the text, first you have to read the passage because that's where the clues are. Next, you have to search for clues like the crumbs on the toddler's face or what you can directly see, or in the case of a text, what the author directly tells you. So lastly, using a logic. By using a logic, a reasoning, and a prior knowledge, so you can already give or draw a conclusion. Let's have another example. So let's read this passage. Lil was excited as she looked outside the window. Dark clouds had blacked out the sun. A strong wind was blowing through the trees. She heard thunder off in the distance. Now let's look at the clues or what the author directly told us. So the first clue is there were clouds. Alright? The second clue is Lil heard thunder. And the last clue is there was a strong wind. Now what is about to happen when there are dark clouds, a strong wind, and a thunder? So what's the answer? A storm or heavy rain is about to happen. Yes, that's right. So we know that from prior knowledge, even though the passage did not mention the storm or even rain, right? Okay, very good. Okay, let's do learning task 1. So, you're going to read the passage carefully and then choose the letter that best gives the conclusion for the story. So, I'll be the first one to read it for you. Miss Renine politely excused herself and left the breakfast table. She was not feeling well. She had been resting in her cabin for some time when she smelled smoke. She thought it was from the machine room. Then she heard an alarm. Maybe it's just the foghorn, she said to herself. But when she opened her cabin door, she saw people running and going up to the upper deck. Smoke was everywhere. She grabbed a life jacket from under her bed and put on her overcoat. In a few minutes, she was outside her cabin. "This way," a man said. "I must find my brother," she said as she followed the man. "There is no time," the man said as he pushed her towards the lifeboat. Now, I have here 10 questions about this story. So the first question is, which phrase describes the setting of the story? Is it A, cabin, deck, and foghorn? B, life jacket, overcoat, the man? And C, dining room, not feeling well, or machine room? So which one describes the setting? Okay, the correct answer is, it's the cabin, the deck, and the foghorn. Number 2, the smoke, people running and going up the upper deck, and the sound of the alarm are meant to give you what? A happy feeling, B, a funny feeling, or C, a frightened feeling? So what's your answer? Yes, the correct answer is a frightened feeling. Okay, for the third question, you can conclude that the action took place in the morning because A, Miss Ranin was resting. B, Miss Ranin was reading. C, Miss Ranin left the breakfast table. So which one gives you a clue that the action took place in the morning? The answer is yes, letter C. Miss Ranin left the breakfast table. Okay, so let's have another set of questions. For number 4, this way. From this expression, you can conclude that the man was telling A, Miss Ranin where to go, B, Miss Ranin not to be afraid, or C, Miss Ranin to go back to her room. So, what's the correct answer? Yes, the correct answer is letter A, Miss Ranin where to go. So, the man tells Miss Ranin where to go. For number 5, you can conclude that the story took place blank. A, on a ship, B, on a train, or C, in an airplane. Okay, So the correct answer is letter. Yeah, it's letter A. On a ship. For number 6, from this paragraph, you can conclude that the story is about A. A ship on fire, B. A boat on fire, or C. A house on fire. So based on the clues given in the paragraph I've read, what do you think so? Yeah, okay, that's correct. It's a ship on fire. Okay, for number 7, if you're going to describe Miss Renin's feeling, you can say that she was A. Happy, B. Worried, or C. Frightened. When she saw the smoke, so what do you think does she feel? Yes, so the correct answer is letter C, frightened. For number 8, I must find my brother. From this sentence, you can conclude that Miss Renin was A. Calm and daring, B. Bold and forceful, or C. Worried and anxious. So what's your answer? Okay, the correct answer is letter C. She was worried and anxious. And number 9, she grabbed a life jacket and put on her overcoat. From this behavior, you can conclude that Miss Renin was A. Angry, B. Quiet and calm, or C. Nervous and afraid. Okay, so what's your answer? Yes, the correct answer is letter C, nervous and afraid. And the next one, the last sentence, the last question rather. There is no time, the man said as he pushed her towards the lifeboat. So from this sentence, you can conclude that the man wanted to A. Help Miss Renin, B. Talk to Miss Renin, or letter C. Know where Miss Renin was going. So what's your answer? Yes, the correct answer is letter A. He wants to help Miss Renin. So how many did you get? Did you get 10 over 10? Wow, that's very nice. So let's move on to the next activity. Okay, let's do learning task 2. So many people come to incorrect conclusions because they do not think out carefully. So I want you to read and analyze each statement I'll be presenting on the screen so that you will be able to decide if the statement given is correct. Okay, so write correct if you decide that the conclusion reached is correct, and if not, write incorrect. So you may do this in your notebook. So let's start with statement number 1. Lazy farmers usually have poor crops. Mangcelo's crops are very poor. Therefore, Mangcelo is a lazy farmer. Is the conclusion reached correct or not? Okay, so let's see the answer. Yes, it's incorrect. Why? It is because the idea presented is not enough to support that Mangcelo is a lazy farmer. So as we all know, either directly or indirectly, very poor crops usually are caused by environmental stress, right? So in some cases, poor environmental conditions like too little water or too little sunlight received by the plants could damage the crops directly. So there are other environmental factors actually that affect plant growth like light, temperature, water, humidity, and nutrition. So that's it. For number 2, okay, listen to this. Many girls have high voices. Solen is a girl. Therefore, Solen has a high voice. Is the idea presented enough to tell that the conclusion reached is correct? So what's your answer? The answer is incorrect. So the idea presented for this sentence is not enough to support that Solen has really a high voice. Okay? What about this one for number 3? Janeline got 95% in mathematics. Her brother Luis got 75%. Therefore, girls perform better in mathematics than boys. So, what do you think is the answer? Is it correct or incorrect? So, let's reveal the answer. It's incorrect. Why? So, one of the common mistake in drawing conclusions actually is overstating or generalizing the result to a larger group. Okay? So, number 3 is incorrect. What about number 4? All living things grow. Adi, my dog is a living thing. Therefore, Adi grows. Is the conclusion reached correct or incorrect? What's the answer? Yes, correct. Did you get it too? Okay, very good. That's correct. What about number 5? All birds feed on rice. Waki is a crow bird. Therefore, Waki feeds on rice. So, is the conclusion reached correct in this statement? Yes or no? So, what's your answer? Let's see. The correct answer is correct. Very good. Okay, this time we'll do learning task 3. So can you see the illustration on the screen? So you're going to analyze the cartoon and then you are to provide answers to the questions that will lead you to a good conclusion. Actually, we have 10 questions here. So you look careful at the screen and then I'll give you 3 minutes, okay, to write your answer in your notebook. So the first question is this a toy store or a shoe store? Okay, we'll have another one. For number 2, is the man a buyer or a seller? 3, the man is holding a pair of shoes. Are the shoes to be worn for sports? 4, is it summertime? Okay, for number 4, you have to look at the clothes they wear. So, is it summertime? Okay, 5, who says, Mom, I could wear them out in 10 minutes? Okay, number 6, them in number 5 question refers to whom? 7, are the shoes for the woman? Is it for the woman, for the child, or for the man? Okay. And for number 8, the child is the woman's blank. 9, is this store probably located in United States or in the Philippines? And last but not the least, is the man the child's grandfather? Okay, if you've got an answer, you're gonna share it at the end of this video. Okay, so we'll get back to your answers later. So for learning task 4, you're going to determine the sentence that supports the conclusion and then copy it in the proper column. So we have 2 columns here. So supporting facts and then the conclusion. Okay, so we have here an example. Edna can't eat. She can't even smile. Father will scold her. She has failing marks. So you're going to pick 3 supporting facts and then 1 conclusion based on the sentences presented. So what are the supporting facts for this statement? Number 1, Edna can't eat. She can't even smile. She has failing marks. So what's the conclusion? Father will scold her. Very good. Okay, what about for number 2? Let's look for the supporting facts and the conclusion. Jack was very happy. His friends congratulated him. His teacher praised him for getting 100% in the test. Jack will be at the top of the class again. So, what's the supporting facts? What are the supporting facts rather? Okay, we got yun. Jack was very happy. His friends congratulated him. And his teacher praised him for getting 100% in the test. Did you get the same answer? What about the conclusion for these statements? Okay, Jack will be at the top of the class again. Very good. Okay, what about for number 3? Kim was sad. She stayed on her bed for 3 days. She had a fever. She couldn't play or even go to school. So what are the supporting facts for this item? Okay, we have Kim was sad, yes. She stayed on his bed for 3 days. And she couldn't play or even eat or go to school. So that's it. What about the conclusion? She had a fever. Okay, that's correct. For number 4, Darian studied hard. She prepared for homework. She recited in class. She participated in class activities. Darian wanted to get high grades. So what are the supporting facts in this item? Oh, let's see. Let's check your answer. Yeah, Darian studied hard. She prepared for her homework. She recited in class. She participated in class activities. Therefore, Darian wanted to get high grades. So that is the conclusion for this item. Okay. And last but not the least, number 5. Kathleen is a nervous type of girl. Kathleen's face turns rosy when called to her side. She slowly stands up. Her knees are shaking. Her hands are shivering and her heart beats like a drum. So what are the supporting facts? Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have Kathleen's face turns rosy when called to her side. She slowly stands up. Her knees are shaking. Her hands are shivering and her heart beats like a drum. Therefore, Kathleen is a nervous girl. So, that is the conclusion. Fiona liked to read books. They see many pictures and stories from it. They know how important books are. They learn and get information from it. So, what's the conclusion? The conclusion is they know how important books are. So, I hope you got a perfect score for this activity. So, now you're ready to take the next learning task. Okay, now that you are done with all the learning tasks, okay, in this lesson, let's try to complete the sentences by supplying the missing words from the concept you have learned from today's lesson. So, you're going to read the whole paragraph orally. So, let's do this together. Okay, ready? Go. Giving blank is what a reader makes after reading a passage in the story. So, giving what? That is giving conclusion. Very good. So, one can use blank to form a conclusion. So, what could you use? Story clues. Okay? And last, giving conclusion may also be based on one's own experiences. So, let's read it together again. Giving conclusion is what a reader makes after reading a passage in the story. One can use story clues to form a conclusion. Giving conclusion may also be based on one's own experiences. Okay, very good. To check if you have really learned from today's lesson, do the assessment below. So you're going to answer the questions that will lead you to a conclusion for each paragraph below. So you will be given 5 minutes to finish the 5-item assessment test. Okay? Go. You may do this in your notebook. For the last part of our lesson, you're going to communicate your personal assessment as indicated in the learner's assessment card. So, using the symbols I've shown you on the screen, you're going to choose which one best describes your experience in working on each given task. So, draw it in the column for level of performance and be guided by the descriptions below. So, you're going to put a star if you were able to do or perform the task without any difficulty. So, the task help you in understanding the target content or lesson. Put a check if you were able to perform the task, if it was quite challenging but it still help you in understanding the target lesson or content. And the question mark if you were not able to do or perform the task, and if it was extremely difficult that you need additional enrichment activities to be able to perform or do the task. So do it for a learning task number 1, number 2, learning task number 3, learning task number 4 for the assimilation and for the assessment process. Okay? You may do this in your notebook. Okay, so that will be all for today. Thank you, kids. See you on our next lesson.